but I hope it will be fine.
I'm sure it will. Anyway, we are in game, so let's get on with these introductions. Spawning in the top right-hand position of Overgrowth, we've got the blue ZerG player representing Team Acer. It's Bly. And his opponent down to the lower left playing for Vega Squadron, the red Protoss, DmC.
Now, DmC is a very interesting player in your tournament medals, just because I haven't really seen him very often in the past, and he's actually probably the only Starcraft 2 player in the world that doesn't have a Wikipedia page, which really makes us wonder, like, how was he able to qualify? It kind of came out of nowhere.
He really did. Now, he was one of the two people who got through the open qualifiers. Actually, both of these two did come through there. Two people came through. It was quite a long, hard journey for them. They both took down some pretty tough people. I think most notably for DmC was that he was able to 2-0 Lilla-Cannon, which is not an easy task nowadays. Lilla-Cannon is a very high-ranking GM player in EU. He's had some good results in DreamHack recently, and all in all, he's just a solid opponent. He managed to qualify over Marine Lord in the finals. Now, they were some great games. I'm very excited to see what he's going to be able to do.
I actually have like the strangest bug ever. I have like random white squares on the nexus, on the gateway, on the spawning pool and stuff. I just patched my Starcraft this morning. I don't know if anybody else had this patch, but it's very strange. I have been worried about the state of my PC for a while, which is why I don't stream, but you know, besides that, everything seems to be fine, so I guess I can deal with it. But yes, I did take a look at his run through the qualifier, and indeed, especially the last two rounds, the rounds before, like you said, all high master GM players, so nothing is ever easy to qualify for a tournament like this, but especially taking Marine Lord out in the final, a player that has been posting some results, that is impressive, and I'm happy to see him, because we didn't really have a whole lot of Protoss in this tournament.
Well, he's opening up pretty standard at the moment. He went for a gate into a Nexus, just grabbing up that gas now, so playing it very economically focused. Meanwhile, Bly, he went for the spawning pool first. His first couple of lings just popping on out now with his natural base also on its way. So neither of these two doing anything too crazy yet, and that's probably a wise move just based on the fact it's a best of three. I doubt that Bly will be too aware of DmC for the reasons we said. He's relatively unknown. So do you think this cautious approach is going to pay off well for Bly?
I mean, he's making 6 links, which is nothing to go too crazy over. I don't want to start screaming at the top of my lungs just yet, but 6 links is a few more than you see ZerG players normally make, especially if they go, you know, double hedge right behind it. It kind of makes me wonder if he's nervous about something crazy, if he knows something about DmC that we don't know, because he is still playing without an extractor. Perhaps that's why, because he knows that he's not going to have speed for the longest amount of time. So he wants to make sure there will be no probes hidden on the map, because if they are, it's going to be hard for him to find it with those slow Zerglings.
Well, just coming in now with these lings, one probe is not going to last very long down on the natural base, so First Blood is going to go down for Bly. He's also managed to get into the main base, and there isn't actually anything to defend here. DmC only just with one Zealot out. He's getting a Stalker, which should be able to fend most of this off. But his Mothership core has been slightly delayed, obviously due to him getting that gas slightly later than you otherwise often see.
Yeah, that's fine. Losing a probe is annoying, but not the end of the world. It will be nice for Bly, because now he knows, like, alright, I didn't make all my links for nothing. I'm pretty sure that he's going to scatter his links around the map in the immediate future, because he has a pretty good idea that there is nothing out on the map, but there could have been a probe hidden all along, which, you know, would have been a pretty big investment for DmC to send something out that early and try to keep it hidden that well. But hey, if you want to put on some 4 or 5 gateway pressure against the gasless opening of a ZerG, it would pay off for you. So if I was Bly, I would really check every single corner of this map, because if there is a pylon going up, he's going to have a very, very hard time defending it with the late Zergling speed or Roach Warren that he's going to have.
Now, you mentioned checking around the map. It's something that Bly isn't massively doing at the moment. He has brought an Overlord just to the side of this gold base just to check some common proxy locations. But the majority of his lings, actually 4 of the 5 of them, just waiting around this 3rd base. Looking to see if there's any move out. He's very limited in vision overall. Just 1 Overlord at the natural, 1 at the main ready to suicide in. But lacking any kind of information at the moment.
Yeah, but he's fine, as we know. Something he doesn't know, but we do know for sure that there is nothing out on the map. There are 2 more gateways going down for DmC, but there was also a very early forge where he's researching +1, so it's unlikely that he's going to go too crazy. And perhaps he's actually just taking a passive tree-based Protoss approach to this, and he's going to follow it up with a Twilight Console and a robotics facility, which is a very solid way to play PvZ, but it's also a way that, you know, in general you need a lot of confidence for, because you will be in the dark for a while. You need to be very active with hallucination scouting and stuff. This is the first time ever I cast DmC personally, but you know, so far he's making a very solid impression because he's playing this without fear. Even though he hasn't really done anything right yet, he's playing with confidence.
So for the moment, Bly only just getting information about this third, and this is going to give him a lot of relief. Seeing this third base come down, you can be incredibly confident that you're not going to get killed by anything in the immediate future. But if we look at the production tab for Bly, he's just made a huge wave of drones. But note he's also got Burrow coming down, his Rotor finished. What do you reckon he's got planned here?
I like the fact that he's getting Burrow medals. I like it because sometimes what Protoss players do is they pretend like they want to go 3 base, very economic Twilight Robo, but then actually they just make a big 8-gate attack on you. And if they do that, it's going to be very hard to deal with in general, because often the response from a ZerG player is to just drone up, drone up, drone up. Then suddenly you have 8 gateways knocking on your front door, and this Protoss player actually stopped probing at 48. So I think it's very smart to get Burrow, because it's one of those things, you'd rather be safe than sorry. If he would 8-gate him, then he can keep his roaches alive forever, because there won't be any form of detection. So I think it's very smart. It's a minor investment, but it will keep him safe. We know that there is actually a Twilight on the Robo going down, so it wasn't mandatory, but I still like it. The reason why he was still droning up is, of course, because his guesses were so late that even when he saw that third base go down, even if he wanted to do something about it, he couldn't immediately because he didn't have Zergling speed yet, or, you know, roaches for that matter.
Now, DmC just got the first little bit of scouting information down for himself. He sent a hallucinated Phoenix over, just saw the third, saw the Rotoron coming down, not much else other than that. Loving from Bly as well, he's got a couple of speedlings just patrolling towards the edge of these maps, looking for any moves out, anything that may look a little bit concerning to him, but predominantly just got Bly actually burrowing up some roaches in case a push were to come in. He's got his 4th up and is just chilling nice and safely at the moment, just a little bit down on upgrades.
He's making a lot of roaches. Yep. He just made a few overlords and he's freeing up more and more supply. Kind of feels like this is old school Stefano style, where ZerG players just go absolutely ham on roaches and roaches only. There we go, tunneling claws being researched as well. This is one of those plays, it's really important for DmC to identify this as soon as possible. If he does it, he can start making an Immortal or 2. Now, right after that hallucinated Phoenix expired, actually, we do see the Spire go down. So this is pretty much where things are going to get really interesting. I'm very curious to see how both players will play out the upcoming 90 seconds in this game.
So this isn't a massive commitment to roaches. There's in total 25 of them down, but behind this we've got the 5th base coming out. We've got quite a few lings as well as obviously tunneling claws, but that Spire is the big switch up. It's going to be interesting to see how DmC deals with this. He's got a lot of sentry energy banked, so shouldn't have any problems zoning out these roaches at least until tunneling claws is finished up. And DmC also sitting with an upgrade advantage. It's going to level out for albeit about 25 seconds, but Bly, he's not got enough to push into this army quite yet.
No, he doesn't really want to either. He wants to make sure that DmC makes more Immortals. The thing is, if DmC would have made Immortals a little quicker, then he actually could have just started attacking with his Blink Stalkers, his +2 upgrades, and he would not have to worry about more roaches, because at a certain point, Immortals will just always kill roaches, while these two armies are getting really close to each other. If DmC wants to start attacking, he needs to, I think, cannon up one base to make sure he doesn't try to do a base trade. But at least this pressure, as we can see, is already forcing out more roaches than Bly wanted to make.
Bly just clearing out some of these rocks now, wanting to create a couple more avenues that he can circle around in, just so if there is an engagement, he's getting a good attack arc. DmC,
Let's
though,
not forget that he does have tunneling claws, by the way, Metal.
Yeah, he does.
Drop you, but it's really important because there is a lot of force field energy, but there's only a single Immortal. So if Bly decides to use tunneling claws on all these roaches, I think he can get close enough. He picks up the pylon immediately as well.
In he goes now. Nice little pick up and drop micro from that Immortal. Bly, he's got a good surface area, but these force fields are zoning out a lot of the roaches, preventing the lings from going in. Bly pushing forward. Remember, he does have tunneling claws, as Roddy did mention earlier. The Immortal finally goes down, but these Blink Stalkers are dealing a lot. They've got +2 up against the +1 of the roaches, and DmC is able to push through. He takes some nice trades there. losing less resources, keeping the majority of his army, and he's now up by quite a good chunk of army supply, despite the 15 rotary reinforcements coming in for the eOnZerG.
Yeah, this is going to get tricky for Bly. He has a crazy amount of gas, but this is not the moment to make Mutalisk. He doesn't really have the minerals for it anymore either. I think he was a little bit impatient taking that fight. He saw the Immortal, he thought it was exposed, but he started fighting while he had still a lot of roaches that were on their way, that were not there yet. The force fields were good. We see Bly counterattacking on the other side of the map. That's an okay idea, but I actually think the DmC should be more than fine with all of the gateways that he has. But this at least is buying Bly a little bit of time to switch into Mutalisk. Man, things are getting pretty dicey in our first game of the day, Mattles.
The Mutalisk switch, it's going to be rough for Bly because there's 31 Blinkstalkers out on the field with good upgrades. He's already lost 21 drones and a hatchery. These Mutalisks have definitely got their work cut out. 8 of them on the field, a few more popping on through, but some getting picked off as they spawn. Not ideal here for Bly, but what is going quite nice for him is he's managed to breach into that natural, just going full out in terms of the counter damage. Nexus Cannon has been triggered.
The most important thing though is, like I said before, it's really important that DmC completely forges up one base. He's getting 4 cannons at his turret. That's not really what I had in mind. I really want to see like 7 or 8, but it's something. He needs to make sure that he will always at least have 1 mining base, because these Blinkstalkers, like you mentioned, there are so many of them, they are never going to die. So as long as he makes sure that he doesn't lose all of his economy, which I don't think he should, I think he'll be fine.
57 drones killed, 36 probes have gone down. The main base of DmC is taking quite a bit of damage, but Bly's is completely annihilated. The Mutalisk count is going to be going up to 23, but that's up against those 31 Stalkers. The third base is now heavily cannoned, going up to 8 cannons here actually. So DmC fulfilling your dreams and wishes there, Roddy. What does Bly do?
I've always had a soft spot for those Russian Protoss medals. They know what I like. I don't know what Bly can do. I don't think there's too much Bly can do. I think he needs to grab all of his forces together and just suicide on either those cannons or on the army. But I think it's an uphill battle that he can't win anymore. I think DmC made the correct calls, had excellent judgment in the crazy phase of this game, and he just made a good read. And Bly kind of threw this game at his very first engagement.
So an attempt to assault into this third base now for Bly. It's a last-ditch effort. The cannons dishing out a lot of damage. These Blinkstalkers trying to focus down as much of the Mutalisk flock as possible. The cannons slowly starting to get taken out, but look at the army supply differences. DmC is a long way up, and his Blinkstalkers are coming back home.
Yeah, it's okay though. Like, Bly doesn't really have any drones anymore himself. Like, this would have been a bad scenario if Bly actually had like 30-40 drones around the map, but DmC should be fine. He still has 30 Blinkstalkers against just 12 Mutalisk and 11 Roaches. I think he's going to be more than fine. There's no way that Bly can kill all the buildings of DmC, and DmC actually has so many units that I think he can split up his forces without exposing himself too much. Of course, it does sting a little bit that he lost at Nexus. He actually has enough money to rebuild it though, so he's not absolutely dead yet. And I think Bly knows as well that he's in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, these Mutalisks are completely pinned in here. Stalkers on either side, just preventing them from being able to escape. This is frustrating for Bly. DmC, dare I say it, he's in a position where he can't really lose at this stage. He's up hugely in terms of supply. He's got that Nexus coming on through. A couple of tunneling Roaches going to try and force that to cancel, but with the Stalkers in position, they're going to have a rough time. Yeah,
still, if he gets the probes and the Nexus, you know, eventually you could start thinking about a draw. Do we have an observer on the map? Actually, we do have an observer on the map, so never mind. These Roaches should not be unkillable. The probes will start running. This is a little bit frustrating for DmC. You can't lose too many Stalkers, buddy. This is really not a game that DmC should possibly lose, so I'd still be very shocked if that happens. There are so many Blinkstalkers. That's a very good forward blink. He's getting the Overseer. Where's your observer?
Just chilling by the 4th.
Why not?
No, that observer really needs to be brought over because those tunneling Roaches are going to be irritating, although their numbers, only 6 of them remaining on the field. Finally, we see DmC pulling over that observer.
Yeah, indeed. He's pulling the observer. He doesn't know about his Roaches behind his mineral line, but he does know about these Mutalisk. Every pickup will be nice. Bly is kind of outmining his Russian Protoss body, though. There goes the forward blink. One more probe. No, he survives with 2 probes, and he's actually not supply blocked yet, so he will eventually be able to start building a few more probes. If I was him, I would have not made that pylon yet. I would have started building more probes first and then get that pylon, because right now the pylon finishes, but he still can't build a probe.
He's perilously guarding those 2 probes, one of which is incredibly close to death. But yeah, that pylon was quite an interesting choice from DmC, because obviously it ate up 100 minerals, which he didn't actually need to. He wasn't supply blocked. The Roach is coming in now. These two probes are going to fall. Luckily enough to make another one from the Nexus, though.
Yep, yeah, he has enough money for the Nexus, and above all, he's splitting up his forces like you see on the right top side of the map. The Observer is here, these drones will get picked off, and Bly is going to be forced to fight this small army, and I think that this is the moment where DmC is going to bring the remaining forces as well, but I'm not even sure if he has to. He has those 2 sentries over here, he has Immortals to soak up a little bit of bounce damage. Those Stalkers should just start focusing stuff. Actually, well done here by Bly, but where are your other Stalkers, DmC? And the Stalker count really is dwindling. It's only at 18, but still, 18 Blink Stalkers against 7 Realists should be more than enough for game number 1.